Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to learn about one-point perspective. We're going to draw objects that look three-dimensional on a two-dimensional piece of paper. It looks kind of confusing, but it's really not. It's a formula. I'm going to take you through this. And some people it's going to come really easy to, and other people you might struggle. It's kind of a math concept, and that's what I find throughout the years. But here's the deal. It is a formula, so if you follow the formula, you can fix it and you can make it work every single time. So there's two worksheets in the PDF file I sent you. One says one-point perspective cubes, and we'll figure out how to draw cubes in space that look three-dimensional. And then the second one takes your cubes. It starts out up here with your cubes, and it takes you a little further and shows you how to add some details to it, so we get a little bit more complex. And I'm going to take you through them on paper right now. A couple things you need. You need a ruler, and you need a pencil or something, or what pencil is good. If you don't have a ruler, I know you guys are at home right now. If you can't find a ruler, grab an envelope or maybe a bookmark, a piece of junk mail, just something, maybe a little piece of cardboard, something that has a straight edge. We don't have to actually measure. We just need to be able to make straight lines. So once you grab those things, grab some paper. It can be any kind of paper. I've got my ginormous sketchbook here, and we're going to start out. And so when you look at this paper here, you see all these boxes. These are all different steps that go in one box. So you just need to draw one box. And I'm going to start out. I'm not going to use my whole piece of paper, so I'm going to draw a box on here and do a smaller version. So here is my piece of paper. This is how I would do it if I was at school on the board. All right, so there's my piece of paper. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a horizon line. So if you look on here, they're calling that the horizon line. The horizon line is if you go outside and you look at a field, it's where the sky meets the ground. It's that line. So then we're going to go ahead and take our ruler, and we're going to draw a line, kind of like how they've got it in here. So it's a little bit above halfway of your paper. So we're going to draw a horizon line. And then on the horizon line, we are going to draw a little dot, and our little dot is called a vanishing point. So we have some terms here. We've got horizon line, and we have vanishing point. Okay, so we're going to work off of this vanishing point a lot. So just like they have on the worksheet here, we're going to go ahead, we're going to draw a little rectangle or kind of a square, and notice where it's positioned. It's to the left, bottom left of the vanishing point. So we're going to do the same thing and use our ruler and make some nice parallel lines. So parallel lines, the top and bottom, that means that they are parallel with the top and bottom of our piece of paper. Parallel lines are lines that never meet in space. If you remember anything from geometry, maybe you haven't had that in math yet, I'm not even sure. So the sides of the box here are parallel to the sides of the paper. So that's something to remember. When you know you're dealing with one-point perspective, when you're looking at the box, it's not distorted. And the top and the bottom are parallel with the paper, and the sides are parallel with the paper. Now what we're going to do is we are going to draw some lines that go from the corners of our box, and they meet to our vanishing point. These lines are called, you can call them guidelines, or they're called orthogonal lines. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use our ruler or straight edge or envelope, whatever you have, just to make a nice straight line. We're going to draw these really lightly because we're going to go back and erase some of these lines, some of these guidelines. We won't need all of them. So light grip on your pencil and just line up your ruler so it's at the corner and then at the vanishing point. Hold your ruler, straight edge, or whatever you're using, and then you draw that line. let's go ahead and do it to this bottom corner here. Now you notice we're starting to get some weird angles, and it may seem weird. Don't worry about it. Just follow the formula. Corners of the box go to the vanishing point. There we go. So now, just like here, actually they did it to the middle corner. We can do that. We don't necessarily have to. If we're drawing a solid cube, that little line they have here, we wouldn't actually see that. So we're not going to worry about that. We're going to do what I have on the paper here. So now we want to make this a cube, so we've got to end it at some point. So we're going to go back with our ruler, our envelope, straight edge. We're going to line it up with the top of our box. So notice how it lines up at the top of the box. We're just going to slide it up a little bit so the line is still parallel. Then we're going to draw it in between those two angled lines like that. So now this line we drew, notice it's parallel with the top of the box, it's parallel with our horizon line, parallel with the top and bottom of our paper. Very easy. Now we're going to take our ruler and we're going to whip it around, and we're going to make it parallel with the sides of the paper now. And so notice it lines up parallel with that and the sides of the boxes. We're going to meet that little line here that we used to end the box, and we're going to do the same thing on the side. So now look at that. Isn't that neat? Now I'm going to go ahead, instead of erasing, well, I might lighten my guidelines a little bit. I'm going to go ahead, just erase them a little, but so I can still see them, so I know they're there. I'm going to go back and I'm going to darken my cube. And now you drew your first box. That is three-dimensional and it's accurate. Good job. I hope this is working out for you very easily. It is a formula. So we did that first one, which they have here. Now, when we go down to this area down here, we're going to draw another box. So we're going to go above the horizon line to the left. So let's go ahead and try that. I'm going to do the same thing. Here we go. And so the tops and bottom and the sides are parallel with the tops and sides of the paper, top and bottom and sides of the paper. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing from the corners to the vanishing point. So we're always working off that one little vanishing point. Sometimes people will ask, should I erase it? Should I erase it? Nope, leave it there. We need that. Every single box that we draw on this paper, we're going to go off of that one little point, so keep it. All right, let's line up our corners again, going to here and going there. And let's do that top one. So always try to have control of your ruler or whatever you're using. Make sure it lines up at the top and then work at the bottom part. Hold it and then come down. And then you actually drag your pencil lead so it's touching the side of that, so you get a nice straight line. Look at how good that looks. Yay. Now we want to end the box again like we did, so I'm going to line up my ruler again with my box. Just slide it down a little bit. Draw a little line just in that angled part. I'm going to whip my ruler around, line it up to the side of the box, slide down, meet that point, that bottom line, and come up. And there we go. So now mine's more of a long rectangle. And then I can go and erase those guidelines or lighten them up. And I'm going to go ahead and darken my box so it stands out a little bit more, just so you guys can see it better. So that's the deal with that. And here we go. Isn't that nice? So now we've got a different point of view. So if we were a person standing right here, we'd be looking, this would be up in space. We'd be looking at the bottom of the box. Isn't that neat? So now they show one more. I'm going to do that with you really quickly. And it goes over the top and below the horizon line. It goes over it. So let's draw that really quick. Again, using our ruler for all lines. Let's not freehand this. And following those same rules. When you first start out, you might want to go a little light-handed with your pencil so that we can erase things. We can erase that in the middle of there, the horizon line, so it doesn't get confusing. And that's the thing when you work with perspective, a lot of the lines you draw you will end up erasing, so you want to go ahead and be light-handed. So let's match up our corners to the vanishing point. And now what's interesting about this one, we're only going to be able to see the two corners. These are invisible. If we could make the invisible lines, they're kind of, I'll dash them, they're sort of in there. So you actually don't need to draw those lines, okay? So I'm going to erase that so we're not confused. And then I just need to end the one side. So I'm going to go parallel with the side, slide it over a little bit. There we go. I'm going to lighten up on those. And now we have our three. So you can switch to the next sheet to make more complex forms and keep working off of what you did here. And now they show you how to make it. You can stack a box on top of another one. And to do that, I would just make a line here. I would draw a little box here. This is where it gets complex. They called it complex forms for a reason. You're going to want to erase some of your lines. I'm going to draw a little box there. See, now I got all these confusing little lines in there. It might be confusing to you, so erase those inside of there. And we're going to basically do the same thing. We're just drawing a little box on top of a box. And sometimes when you're close to the vanishing point like this, some of your little lines are just a sliver. You barely see them. But it's basically a mathematical formula, and it's accurate. So now I've got my little box on a box, and then they show you how to draw openings, cut holes in the blocks, and that's very easy too. I'll do it on this one here. I'm going to draw a box within a box, so I'm going to keep it parallel with the tops and the sides. And there we go. So now I follow the same thing with the corners going off my vanishing point, always using the same vanishing point. So I'm within this box like that. And then let's see, what do they show? And that's really all that is just that one line in there. And then it looks like you can see inside of that box there. You could also do something like this if you wanted. And then it makes it look like, see how that would have been about right there. Then it's like a hollow box. But go ahead and play with these. Some of these could be a little more complicated, but do your best and see what you can come up with. This is just a practice sheet. And we will have a Zoom session this morning, so I will go over this live with you, and you can ask questions too. So good luck. Have fun with perspective cubes. I hope it works out well for you. Have a great day.